Hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? I haven't gone live on my Instagram page in a while, so I thought and I am walking through the airport, so I am on my way to my flight. Kind of pop in and say hi. Today I was sitting there and I was thinking about a couple of things. Somebody asked me about this interesting thing with Lil Nas X and Cardi B, and this demonic stuff people are doing, this whole devil worshiping and all this other shit. And one of the things I realized is that there's something about artists and entertainers where they live off of attention, right? They live off of attention. And I'm going to talk more about this on my YouTube channel later on today when I get a chance. But I thought that it would be interesting to kind of have a conversation about, when you think about Lil Nas X, or Cardi B and, all this devil worshiping shit and all this other stuff. I realized, I said, these people love it. The biggest thing that they benefit from is when you're outraged. If you notice, whenever the community gets all upset and mad and they're like, oh my God, how dare you do that? How dare you put that in a song? And all this other stuff. Cardi B just doubles down. Like, she just comes back with something more outrageous, more ridiculous. Let me kiss 3 lesbians this time. Let me find some really dramatic ways to use my pussy. And then people get pissed again. And that's how they know that they're winning, right? And so I kind of want to, I'll go deeper on this thought later, but I really think in terms of understanding business and marketing, I think it's important to understand that they enjoy it when you're screaming and hollering and saying, oh, you're worshiping the devil, and oh, you're promoting, things that are bad for children. Because half of these motherfuckers molest kids. Like, they want your children. They want to do these nasty things to kids, right? So it's kind of like when you give it a lot of attention, you're really fueling the fire. And I think Lil Nas X actually told you everything you needed to know when he basically said, stay mad. He said, I want you to stay mad. And that's because if you stay mad, then he wins. Because it's about attention. It's about getting people to talk about you, getting people to acknowledge your music, getting people to acknowledge that you exist. The worst thing in the world for these people, their worst nightmare, is that they can do some really outrageous shit and you don't even give a fuck. You don't even care. You don't even respond. You just say, oh, there he goes. Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, so he's sucking the devil's dick today? Okay, well, good for him. Whatever, right? Like, you really kind of, when you get to that point where you just don't care, then that's when they start losing. So I'm not saying be silent or not be silent. You can do what you want. I think that there's a difference between being outraged in a way where you can actually stop something, right? Like, for example, when the owners of Twitter and Facebook don't like what you're saying, they won't talk about you. They'll just shut you down. They'll just take your channel off, whatever. So, because they're not going to get outraged. They're going to act on it. But when you get outraged and you're yelling and screaming, and then the person is free to just go make another album and nobody stops anything, then you've actually added to their power. Only certain people will really even understand this concept. But when you bitch about somebody and you're yelling and complaining and mad about it, and you're doing nothing, like you're not able to actually stop what you're complaining about, then you're actually giving power to that other party. Like, even with, like I always tell men, if you're ever jealous of another guy, don't sit around your girl and talk all day about that man and about that guy. Because every time you talk about him, you're bringing him back into your relationship. Same thing is probably true with ladies too. If there's somebody, where you're like, oh, that bitch, she's up here trying to do this and trying to do that. You think that you're actually stopping it. Like, you think you're slowing it down. Well, really, you're actually giving that person more power, because it shows you, basically you're showing that they have that influence over you. And I'm just telling you, like, I know this because I have people on the internet that will scream and holler my name. They will do videos that'll get 80,000 views, and they'll spend the whole video saying, Boyce Watkins is a bastard. Dr. Boyce is an asshole. And I know what they're doing now. I understand it. You're trying to get me to respond. Because once I respond to you, I've elevated you. Once I acknowledge you, you're moving up a notch. So when I acknowledge anything or anyone at any time, I make a conscious choice to realize what that acknowledgement actually means. Sometimes I'll acknowledge you because you are relevant and I must acknowledge you. Sometimes I'll acknowledge you because I actually want you to get attention. But if I see what you're trying to do and I see what you're trying to get from me, okay, I get it. You want me to talk to you so that people can then say Dr. Boyce is responding to you. I won't say shit. You could say whatever you want. You know, call me all kinds of names, make stuff up, whatever people want to do. And if it's not true, then it's not true, right? So I really think that with Cardi B and Nas X, I encourage people to kind of look at the long game. Here's what they learned about the hip-hop music industry and all the bullshit debauchery that white people have thrust upon you. Like, they control your industry. That's what it was. They've learned that outrageous behavior will make you a billionaire. They sat there and watched Kanye West piss off the entire black community by being an openly blatant Trump supporter. They watched Kanye do shit that had people bitching and mad and moaning and yelling and screaming and everything else. And now they see that Kanye's worth about $4.4 billion. Kanye has not lost. He won. He won. And you helped him win by saying his name over and over again. And Kanye's smart enough to know that. He's smart enough to know that. Like, for example, Betty Dorothy's trying to get my attention. She says Boyce is always gaslighting every time I come on here, never talking about business and how we can apply it. Well, that's what the Black Business School is for. So we got free people that you can talk to right now for free at theblackbusinessschool.com, where you can go learn everything you want to learn. We have probably 10,000 hours of deep-seated economic curricula you can go check out. I'm not going to give you a business school class on my Instagram page, so you should probably leave and go somewhere else, unless you want to stay here and bitch, in which case you're welcome to do so. But the point that I will make to you is this is a game. This is a game, you know. If you really was to ask Lil Nas X's manager, what's a problem for you? Or, you know, how are you upset when people get outraged about his music? What would be your worst nightmare? He's not going to say, oh, my worst nightmare is that the black community will dislike Nas and won't like him anymore. They don't give a fuck. His worst nightmare is that you stop paying attention to him. That's what the worst, because literally they're sitting there saying, yes, this was successful. This was the biggest success we've ever had. Look at all the people that are mad. Because that's the other thing too. And what's funny is somebody mentioned Roland Martin earlier. This is an example of where arrogance can kick you in the ass. So Roland was thinking, if I bring this 21-year-old kid on my show and beat him up online, like really tear him down and talk shit about him and make him look stupid and attack him, that it's going to make him less relevant, when actually he made him more relevant. He elevated him. Like, he really needs to send Roland a thank you card, because as much as you might think that you can convince the world to hate what you hate, if you're on a big platform saying, I hate that motherfucker, I hate that son of a bitch, half the people are going to say, actually, I kind of like him. I kind of like what he had to say. And I never would have heard it if you had never brought it to my attention. Like, I'll give you one little story about it, and then I'll be done. But 50 Cent tells this story. 50 Cent is another smart guy who understands the power of attention. If you think about it, half of his attention is bad attention. A lot of times when people talk about 50 Cent, they're saying something negative. They're not saying something like, oh, he's so wonderful and so mature and such a great guy. No, they're saying, what the hell is he doing? You know, what's wrong with this guy, right? So 50 Cent talks about when he was a nobody. Nobody knew who he was. But he wanted to be the king of New York. He wanted to be one of the biggest rappers. And he said that so on his album, he would just deliberately talk shit about everyone just to get their attention. So he was talking shit about Jay-Z, because Jay-Z was, you know, Jay-Z. And so lo and behold, let me pull my mask up. Excuse me. So lo and behold, you know, Jay-Z, I guess, gets offended by one of 50 Cent's little diss tracks or whatever. So Jay-Z, you know, I guess, feeling like, you know, I'm powerful, I'm gonna dog this guy out. He goes on stage and he says, I'm all about my dollars. Who gives a fuck about 50 Cent? And this is according to 50 Cent. This is 50 Cent's story. He said that most of those people in the crowd did not even know who 50 Cent was. He said, I wanted to send him a bottle of champagne after that. So what I'm saying to you is that when you put energy and attention into something, you're acknowledging that thing. The opposite of love is not hate. Hate is not the opposite of love. When somebody goes out of their way to talk about how much they hate you, what they're doing is going out of their way to acknowledge how much they see you, right? And the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is actually indifference. So think about your ex. Think about when you have a relationship and you break up with your ex. If you're sitting there every day trying to bash their name, talking shit, wishing unhappiness on them, ready to cuss them out at the drop of a dime or whatever. And that means you really still love your ex. Like you're still looking to see, what's going on in their life. The day when you're really cured of that person is when you can see what they're doing and how they're doing, and you just don't give a shit. Like, somebody says, well, they fell off a cliff and died yesterday. You like, damn, I'm sorry to hear that. And that's it. It doesn't ruin your day or anything like that. It's an interesting story. Like, that ex I had 3 years ago, she died and fell off a cliff. Or somebody says, oh, they get married. And you're like, wow, that's really great. I wish you the best. Good luck. But you don't give a shit. You don't care, So indifference. If you ever want to overcome something, there's a paradox to like overcoming like a rival or an adversary. The paradox I've run into is this. This is not for shallow people. So this is one of my deeper thoughts because I'm always trying to figure out life. The paradox of overcoming your adversary is that if you're in a space where you're competing with somebody and trying to, show them up and I'm gonna prove them wrong and all this other stuff, it's kind of like you're still stuck in a little cage, like you're stuck in a trap. Like I used to grow up thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna show the white man I can do it. I'm gonna show white people that I can be better than them, and I'm gonna show them that I'm this, and this. And really, who the fuck are they? Like, why are they so important that I got to prove anything to them? And why is their approval worth anything to me? Why should it matter so much? Well, because I was raised in the bubble of white supremacy, and I felt that proving things to white people made you very important. And what I learned is that when you've really overcome the battle, it's when you've truly transitioned and transcended to a higher dimension, to the point where you don't even acknowledge the battle anymore. You're not even thinking about it anymore. Like they're still in the 2-dimensional space. You've moved to the 4th-dimensional space. You're thinking about a lot of other things that have nothing to do with that original whatever. And so, like, I think about people, for example, when I was younger, people maybe that, hey, what's happening, brother? How you doing?
I see you every day.
Yeah. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Chicago.
Oh, nice to meet you, man.
I know you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's cool. You want to take a selfie? Okay, cool. Give me 1 second, guys. I met a relative. Oh, it's okay. Let's do that selfie. I ain't got my mask on. I hope that's okay.
Cool.
All right.
Oh, yeah, there you are. Great.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, man.
Is that the Nets? Is that the Brooklyn
Nets.
Oh, you a Nets fan?
I'm a Cardi fan, too.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Well, he better win that championship. Because he been quit messing around.
I'm running into reparations.
Yeah.
You know that in Edmonton, Illinois, they got reparations.
Yeah, I saw that.
About that?
You reminded me. I'm gonna do a video about that because the plan's not very good, but it's a good acknowledgement.
Good enough.
Yeah, it's a good start.
It's good seeing you, man.
Good to see you too, brother.
So I know that you put that on the podcast. Some kind of reparations is good enough, right?
Right, for sure.
It's not good. Yeah, I got to hear about that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk about it.
It's Tony Bond.
Tony. Okay. Okay. Well, nice to meet you, Tony. Okay, nice to meet you, brother. Thank you for saying hello.
Good luck with the wedding coming up, right?
Yes, July 10th. Yes, sir. Same here, brother. Same here. Okay. So where was I? Okay. So when I was talking, so I think about, people that maybe I was pissed off at or competitive with back in the day. And I would be competing with them. And what would happen is the day I realized that I had actually won the competition, if you will, is the day where I wasn't even thinking about it anymore. I've moved on to something bigger and better, like, okay, I'm competing with you on a local level. Well, now I'm on a national level. I'm not even thinking about local stuff anymore, and so what I encourage you to realize is that I believe that the best way to overcome anything or anyone is to find some way to transcend that thing. where you literally, when people talk about living on a certain vibration and certain dimensions and all that stuff, kind of, what do you call it? Spiritual / metaphysical type stuff. That's real. That's really real, and so I've learned that the best way for me to win a fight or a battle or competition with somebody is to just get on a higher frequency, a higher vibration. And then, because if I'm operating in the fourth dimension and you living in the second dimension, then you pretty much shadow boxing. You think you're fighting me, but I've already ascended. I've already moved on to something else. So, remember that you get to control your focus. You get to decide where you put your energy. Are you going to put your energy on level 2 or put your energy on level 5? It's up to you. All right, so I hope that this helps you, and I hope you guys have a good day. And I got to go get on my flight. And I saw somebody said you're you're cordial. Well, yeah, I got to be cordial. If I see any of you on the airport, I'll be very cordial to you because I appreciate you. I'm not a easy guy to listen to sometimes. I'm not a perfect guy. But I am honored and always privileged by the fact that you honor me with your attention and your energy, and I will always respect that. So I'm out of here. Have a good day, everybody. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.